Hello and welcome to Circle of Wisdom, starring Tarot Master Christopher Onefeather. Circle of Wisdom is a webcam talk show series where we dive into the magic of tarot divination. My name is Iwona. I'm an archangel reader and aura soma practitioner, and I'm proud to be your co-host today. Our host is a long-standing contributor to the Lightworker community, so please welcome seasoned psychic, tarot master, and self-published author Christopher Onefeather.
Well, it is a beautiful day. How are you today, Iwona? And thank you for the intro.
Thank you so much, Master Onefeather. We had sunshine in the morning, and now it's already evening, and we have rain again. So how is your weather there in America?
Well, yes, we're mirroring each other. We had a beautiful sunrise, but almost tropical temperatures. So we do have rain on the way, but it's currently about 75 degrees outside, which is
wow.
Yeah, it's the first major spike of the season, which is a beautiful thing. And I do want to thank you. You have such good taste and such graciousness. And of course, I got a package in the mail, and
yay! You got it finally.
Yes, I noticed it was from Europa, and so I couldn't hold back. I just tore the wrapping to shreds getting into it. You sent me, this was something I think is very humorous. You sent me a beautiful image of Vienna, and it's one of those laser images. So I'm not going to put it on the camera because it makes my eyes go crazy, and I think it will make the camera really go crazy.
But you could try.
Yes, well,
Let's try.
I felt like I was actually right in Vienna. I mean, it's really quite marvelous. So
we can see it. It's not that bad.
Yeah,
so it's one of the most beautiful streets here in the first district in the old city center. So it's historic Vienna.
And what is the building with the dome there? What is that particular?
Just behind it, there is a square. It's called Michaelerplatz, and just behind the Michaelerplatz is the former residence of the Kaiser. So it's the Hofburg. It's called.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And the Habsburgs Castle in Vienna. So
exactly.
very, very historical. Absolutely.
It is.
But nonetheless, in addition to that beautiful image, I got chocolate.
Yay!
And it's more than just chocolate.
Yummy.
Chocolate. It's musical chocolate because it's Mozartafel, and or Mozartafel, and
exactly.
Mozart, of course, was part of our discussion last week, so we're all coordinated here as far as musical influence and geographic location, etc., etc.
It is, but now I'm back in Vienna, so where he also was, of course, but his hometown was Salzburg, what we talked about last week. So we just maybe that's the cue to talk about what we already did in the show before. So, Master Onefeather, we started with the full card, of course, with the first card of the deck, and then we went on to the Magician. And today it's the High Priestess, which has a number 2. So maybe you can explain to our audience why the deck starts with 0 and what the journey was so far.
Well, you know, when we this is the Fool card. I'm sure that everybody is very familiar with it. And we are talking about the major arcana, which is in reality the hero's journey, and we are all the hero of our own journey. But the idea of 0 is not the idea of what's the word for it? A blankness or an absence. It is the image of that which springs forth from the infinitude, that which comes forth from the infinite. So it's not fractionated. It's not something that has a numerical or is part of a numerical sequence. because infinitude, eternity, God as pure consciousness is beyond any kind of differentiation. In other words, there are no parts within God. God is the totality of God, and everything that God created exists within God. And until you can arrive at a point where you're starting to step out of our linear universe and starting to recognize a more abstract vision of reality, it's very difficult to envision anything that is limitless. You know, you go out and you stare at the stars at night, and you see this blackness that spreads out forever with a billion stars. And when you try to imagine what that infinitude is, it really is very, very difficult for us. So it slides into that realm of becoming the great mystery, because we really can't define it in human terms. We're used to a beginning and an end, a birth and a death, you know. So we're trapped in a timeline, we're trapped in a sequential order, and yet we emerged from that which is infinite and perfect and joyous, and the absolute perfection of all beingness. And within that realm, the creator and the creation are indistinguishable one from another. So when we enter back into that place of union with the infinite, when we are quiet enough to slide out of our awareness of this realm, and we fall into that realm. They're getting a feedback. But when we fall into that realm of infinitude, we really lose the distinction between God and man. You know, it is so completely homogeneous that there is no distinction. And so then when a part of the man-God identity decided that it was perhaps time to experience separation, which of course was an insane thought, because how can you separate yourself from that which is endless and infinite? It created a vision or a dream that we kind of slid into, and once we entered the dream, we lost our memory of our true identity and our true ancestry. And so that dream that we entered into caused a fracture, because the thought that created the dream was separation. And so last week we were talking about the masculine or conscious side, which is represented by the magician, number one. And this week we are addressing the feminine side, which was created as a result of that fracture in the true reality. And there's a huge world that we are oblivious to, that resides in each and every person, because we have the subconscious, and within the subconscious there are multiple realms that we don't, in our conscious state, have immediate access to. That's why really the journey is about doing what? It's about unifying those two elements, healing the mind, bringing the masculine and feminine back together so they are a unified mind once again. So anyway, that is the beginning of our dialogue around the High Priestess.
Exactly. That's wonderful information already. So we were just talking, Chris, what is your vision of, what is your concept of the divine feminine when it comes, I mean, we have the High Priestess, so today is all about the divine feminine, of course, and there is a lot of talk and a lot of topics coming up now that we are entering the age of Aquarius, and everybody is saying that the divine feminine and the feminine in us has to rise again to make this world a better place. But what is your concept of the divine feminine? I'm wondering.
Well, I think that as with all stories about oppression, I think that it's all reflective of the individual. Uh,
Mm.
and I think that in order for the divine feminine to be restored to its full potential, we do have to unify the masculine and feminine within each and every one of us. So for the last, what, 3,000 years, 4,000 years, we've seen a definite preponderance of emphasis being placed on the masculine side of consciousness, on men. And but when we came into this world, the conscious mind is what keeps us from falling off a cliff, from, setting ourselves on fire. I mean, we have to be consciously aware of the world we inhabit. And so there was that inclination at that key point of creation to suppress the feminine. And as we suppressed the feminine within all of us, it became a hidden element. So right now, it's time for the reemergence, because within this process, we reclaim the truth of our identity, which is a whole and unified creative force, creating as our Creator created us. And in my book, the definition for the High Priestess, now this is just a segment of it, but the High Priestess is a temple of the mind where we do the work that we wish to become manifest in our lives. So the masculine has the concept, the feminine is the womb where the concept is placed, and then collectively, ideally, the two units, masculine and feminine, give birth to whatever it is that we're seeking to create. So I go on to say black, white, day, night, masculine, feminine, all are symbols of our dualistic nature. Ruled by the moon, reflective of the inner world, our unconscious or subconscious personality reminds us to be sensitive to the unseen world that surrounds us. So
that is a passage from your, so that was a passage from your book now, Master Onefeather, as I believe. So you can learn about every tarot card by purchasing the Metaphysical Tarot Workbook, which is available at soulmart.me. And you will also find links to a book as well, a private reading with Christopher over Skype. So if you want to know more about all that he has written, about all the major arcana cards and all the others, you can buy this book. So
yes.
So Master Onefeather, what you're saying is that the male part, or the masculine energy, is bringing the idea, the thought, the concept, and it's brought to the physical world and is manifested by the feminine. Is that right?
Yes, ideally, if the two elements within the individual are working in harmony. Yes, that is the process. It's very interesting how we've got a lot of dialogue around oppression and how women have been oppressed for centuries, but really that is the nature of the human experience. We've got the Jews who were repressed, the Native Americans who were repressed, the Irish who were repressed. Everybody at some point has played that role of being repressed. And the repression element, the forces that work against us, in reality, are not exterior forces. It's not all those evil men are, subduing women and forcing them to do their bidding. The reality is that within each and every one of us, we have these two elements that are constantly trying to attain some level of harmony. I remember many, many years ago, I was around Gloria Steinem for a while, and for people who don't know who Gloria was, she was one of the first great champions of the feminist movement in this country. And Gloria's big spiel at that time was how women deserved to be treated as on the same level as men. And it was very interesting because when I observed her in the background, she had secretaries and people working for her, and she treated the people that worked for her hideously. You know, she treated them like indentured slaves. And it occurred to me that, you know, she hadn't resolved that conflict, and so she ends up championing a cause, but at the same time she perpetrates the same societal ills. And I think that we really have to look at that, because the way that the feminine energy arises and reclaims its a true identity is by the individual harmonizing the two elements. Every person has to have that love and appreciation and bringing together the two elements within that.
So is your opinion the same when it comes? I mean, we see a lot of men struggling right now in finding their feminine side. So because society has changed, women have changed, women are emancipated now, women also go to work, women also do things that men did before for many, many thousands of years. So I have the feeling that many men have a problem in finding their place and finding their role. So what is your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's the eternal struggle of the individual. I don't think it's necessarily like a virus that is spread among the population. I think the individual, once we arrive in this realm, we take on an individual identity, and I think that there's definitely a lot of fractured images of self that we do have to struggle with and resolve. If you go back and look at history, though, historically there have always been women who have arrived at the pinnacle of a movement or of a cause or of a discovery. So, you know, I don't think that it's necessarily that men have struggled with their own feminine nature so much as and tried to suppress women, as that men are very self-indulgent. They're very aware of themselves, and they're not aware of their own feminine nature. So they're on the surface. They're on the ego level. Women are on the sensitive, feeling, emotional level, and both are extreme ranges. You know, you see a lot of women doing things that make no sense at all. Because they're hormonal, and you know they're just feeling everything, but they're not able to put it into perspective. And then we have men who come along and react out of anger and frustration, and it's all testosterone and masculinity. And you know, if I can't if I can't subdue it, then I'll beat it to death, and that sort of thing. So really, it's just ongoing. It's this ongoing drama. But I think there are ways to celebrate the feminine and to highlight the feminine in a very healthy way, so that you know, all of society benefits from the realization that both elements are very, very necessary in order for us to reclaim harmony.
Exactly. So in those times, what you're saying, it's much more important not to only enhance the divine feminine, but to find the balance for both elements inside yourself, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime that, well, we've seen it over and over again. You know, the oppressed, once they claim their victory over the oppressor, become the oppressor. And we've seen that over and over and over again. You know, I mean, you go to the Middle East, the Jews have been returned to Israel, and what's going on in Israel? Well, they're oppressing the Palestinians. So not all Jews. I mean, I know a number of Jews who are very lovely people and who are very egalitarian and very equal-minded and who are huge proponents of peace in the Middle East. But the ones that claw their way to, you know, into public light are the ones that frequently repeat the same thing.
Yeah. So I think, like you just said, it's a part of human nature. So that means that we will not have peace outside until we find peace inside of us. That's also what Buddhism says, no? So
yes. Yeah, and every school of spirituality, that ultimately is the primary goal. is to discover ourselves, because there are all these different hidden realms that we inhabit that we're oblivious to. And so the journey is self-discovery and then ultimate self-liberation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what would you say if the card, the High Priestess, comes up in a reading? Because many readers say, "Oh, when this card comes, it tells me that it's totally about intuition. You should follow your intuition." And we will not get more information on this topic because the High Priestess tells you to follow your own guidance. So, what is your opinion on this?
Well, I think that definitely is one valid approach to the High Priestess. I don't think a reader should see the cards in a separate way. I know when I read, for me, the cards are a story that I am experiencing about the person I'm reading for. So when you combine the other cards in the spread with the High Priestess, it definitely can come up with a very heavy emphasis on the subconscious, go inside, find your own answers. But it also can mean, you know, a part of you where fertility exists, where you can actually give birth to whatever it is you're trying to manifest, is either available or blocked right now, and you need to figure out, you know, how to approach it. So if the High Priestess came up in a position where it was moving into the past, I would tell the client, you probably have planted the seed. Just relax. Quit trying to make it grow, because it's already growing. And just be patient and allow it to come full term so that you do give birth to this new thing you're trying to manifest.
Fascinating. So it's all about manifestation and planting and creating. It's creation then. Wonderful.
Yes, and it's also about emotional ranges, because you know, if the moon and the High Priestess came up in conjunction in a reading, I would say, you know, you're going to be having a rough ride, because you're going to have the extremes of the emotional tides going on within you, you know, and high tide is going to be pretty horrific, and low tide is going to be, oh my God, you know, I'm at the bottom of the pit. So yeah, it really depends on the cards associated with it in the reading. And it really also depends on where you are in your own journey, because some people you can tell them over and over again that you know, they need to embrace their own divine feminine.
Absolutely.
And they're simply not going to hear that.
Yeah. So would you like to show us your card and tell us more about the images on the High Priestess card, or the symbols?
Yes. This is the Robin Wood Tarot that I use. And it's very Celtic in nature. Robin was a woman who had strong Irish, Celtic ancestry, Scottish. And with this particular image, you can see the moon is very much highlighted in the background.
Beautiful.
And the idea of the open book, the accessing the realm of hidden knowledge or unrevealed knowledge. And of course that, you know, once again goes to that idea that within you have the answer for everything. But how do you find that answer? And it generally will lie within that realm of your own subconscious. So this card urges us to dig deeply into our own inner world in order to have it revealed to us what's really going on in our outer world.
Wonderful, wonderful. I have another image here of it's from the Heindel Tarot, and here we have the moon in a very highlighted position, and we have this bubble in the middle where the creation is happening. And it's very interesting that you just talked about Celtic culture, because it said it was one of the how do you say that in English? Matriarchy. It was a society where women were the leaders. So it's very interesting.
Matriarchal society.
Matriarchal, yes.
Yeah, and really you find that is true with most tribal-based societies. The Native American society, you know, it was a matriarchal society. But a healthy society, a healthy community honors both Whereas what happened with European society and a lot of Middle Eastern societies was that they would go from one extreme to the other. It was either matriarchal to the point where men had absolutely no rights, no value, and were emasculated, were crippled.
Mm-hmm.
And then it flips over to the extreme other way, where the exact opposite occurs. And really, we don't want to see either element arise here. We want to see both elements in union, ideally,
Okay.
in a healthy society. And that also relates to the idea of putting together a vision of humanity where we are tribal and yet capable of linear perception and thinking. So it's the fusion of the two. I put a lot of emphasis on tribal society, but that doesn't mean that I am discounting the value of our linear abilities. So
exactly.
Once again, it's moderation and harmony.
Yes, and embracing the yin and the yang inside yourself and balance it out. So I think that's the essence of what those cards are. Those two cards are telling us. So wonderful, wonderful. So if you're watching us live on the internet, you can even join the conversation. So just navigate to tweettalk.tv and you'll find a live chat room to meet other viewers and links to join the show live. So I think we will proceed to see what people are asking you today, Master Onefeather. So we will start with our mini readings. And we have a lot of Virgos here today, so that's very interesting. So let's start with Chris Kuhn. She's here, and she would like to have a card about where she's going and when it comes to her purpose. So what can you tell Chris today?
Well, the card that I drew for you, Chris, is the 8 of Coins, and boy, that's very much a card of Virgo, because Virgo loves to learn and loves to work in, those libraries and those deeper realms of intelligentsia, that sort of thing. And right now, you are definitely in a cycle of kind of rapid evolution. You're learning new skills, you're learning new ways of dealing with problems, even if you aren't in a technically school environment. You are learning some of the greater, deeper lessons in life. Patience is the primary thing that you want to be focused on, just giving allowance for your life to unfold naturally. I think in the next 3 weeks you're going to see some kind of a clarity coming into your life situation. You're going to get more of a sense of, this is my destiny, this is what I've got to really focus on. And I think that I get that there is some sort of relationship thing that is going to be the catalyst for this, either a new person arriving in your life or a person that you have been around or have been with for a long time, who stimulates you to find a new center to operate from. So growth, education, and awakening are what's on your horizon.
That's wonderful news. That's really good news for Chris. So I'm just wondering if Lisa wants to come back and join us to get a card pulled. Maybe she wants to come back and unmute herself. But in the meantime, we have Wendy Mason, also Virgo. So she wants a general card.
Okay. And for Wendy, you have the 5 of Coins. Feeling a little bit disconnected right now, feeling like you're not quite in harmony with the people and the pace that's going on in your life. Part of this is because you're still clinging to some images of the past. You're definitely holding on to some old frustrations, some old blockages, and really as soon as you finish releasing your little reveries where you go back and examine the past, that's going to springboard you very dramatically into the future. And I think that's going to be the catalyst for this next cycle of personal growth and personal attainment. And you do have a lot of things lining up in August, September, October, where you are going to be feeling like you finally achieved the things that you were looking for. So in the interim, it's fine-tuning and releasing and really getting your focus back to the present moment. And then you'll see things really start to accelerate.
That's very nice. So now we have Lisa back. Maybe she wants to unmute herself. Hello, Lisa. You are here the first time on Onefeather's show. So what would you like to ask Master Onefeather? Oh, we cannot hear you. I'm sorry. You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Maybe,
yes.
Okay. Yes, we hear you.
Yes? Okay. Oh, yeah. That is hard. I think my life is going really slow at the moment, and it's hard to find out what I really want, like for working and for relationships. So, yeah, I have no idea what the next weeks or months are going to, show me up something, like finishing my exam, university, going into a relationship with a guy I'm not sure if I want to. So yeah, a few decisions to make, and I have no idea. Confused.
Well, right now, the card that came up for you is the Lover's card. And this is...
Oh!
Yeah, this is not so much about romantic relationships or, you know, falling in love. I mean, I do get a strong sense that there is a relationship coming, and again, I get a strong highlight around July and August when somebody appears that really is the ideal relationship. But this is the idea of magnetic forces and recognizing that you don't have to go out and find things. That once you arrive at a point where you really have a clear sense of what you would like to experience, then giving yourself permission to attract it to you. And I think you're moving very, very much in that direction now. Instead of having to go out and track down things and sample things and try things, I get a strong sense that you're going to start attracting things to you. And so you just relax with that, and over the next 10 days, there are going to be some new elements show up in your life. And by mid-part of June, you're really going to feel like you're on track and you're getting a lot of success with what you're trying to achieve.
Wonderful. That's very good news. So, Lisa, if you want to answer, you have to unmute yourself again. So try. Okay. She doesn't have it.
Wow.
Doesn't have it.
Oh, yeah, wow. Thank you. That is wonderful. That is what I'm feeling in my heart.
Good. Yeah, because
things are going to be good in summer, I think.
Yeah, and just relax. You don't need to go out and find things. Things will just arrive. You will just, you know, magnetically attract the right elements in your life.
Wonderful. Thank you, Master Onefeather. That is such good news for her. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Have a lovely week.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Master Onefeather. So next person is again a Virgo. So it's a Virgo overload today. So it's EB Live, and she wants a health card.
Okay. Well, for EB, well, stop worrying. When you worry, you make things fall apart. When you live in that state of just relaxed experience and just enjoy the moment, you will in fact discover that that you start to just unconsciously regenerate. This is the Six of Swords, smooth sailing, moving out of stormy waters, trials and tribulations. So you're moving into a period here where tremendous possibility exists for you to rejuvenate, to come back into a higher level, higher vibrational level. I definitely would say this is the phoenix arising, but it's not that fiery explosion. It's more like a gentle awakening and realizing that you really don't have to be apprehensive or worried about things because the right things are going to just organically happen for you. So I see definitely a positive cycle coming up with your health, and a need for you to work on trust, trusting that the universe is working on your behalf and bringing you the answers and the right connections.
Awesome. So whatever it is, get well soon, EB Live. We hope you are fine very soon. Next person we have here is Lynn. I don't know, she just joined the show, but I don't see her anymore. Maybe she wants to come back. And in the meantime, we will pull a card for Nadia Pfeiffer. She's a Gemini like me, and she's asking for a general card, Master Onefeather.
Well, good old Gemini is going to be feeling that acceleration as Mercury moves back into Gemini. Actually, it's happening right now as I'm speaking.
Yay!
So, you know, once you feel that energy, it's like you don't necessarily have to go out and talk all day. Just talk half the day, and life will be good. But for Nadia, Nadia is getting the Three of Rods, which is really an exciting card because it's returns. You know, you put out a lot of energy into different areas looking for growth and for new opportunities. And this card is saying that you're moving into a cycle here where you're going to be able to recognize some harvesting in your life, some success, accomplishment. So I get that as we move into the rest of this month and into July, people that you have been trying to cultivate, situations where you've been trying to experience growth, you're going to see kind of a surge forward now. And then in July, you're definitely going to feel like that effort that you had put into different areas of your life are starting to pay off in a big way. So very, very positive energy around Nadia.
That's totally exciting. I'm sure she loves it. And we will try to talk less, we promise. So next person we have here, Lynn returns. So Lynn, do you want to have a card pull from Master Onefeather? Hello. Are you there? Can you unmute yourself maybe? I don't hear you, I'm sorry. Okay. No, I don't hear her. Maybe she tries. And in the meantime, we have a Cancer. By the way, Lisa was a Cancer too, so we have two Cancers here. It's Julie Adario, and she would like a card considering going back to school at 43 to be a school teacher. So what do the cards say about that?
Well, first thing I get is that she's very well suited for teaching. I think that she is a very nurturing soul, and I think that she would get as much out of it as she would extend to the students. The card that comes up is the Hermit card. And now, the Hermit really isn't about retreating and going off on your own. It's about ascending to a higher level education, getting a degree, and then being able to hold out your light for those around you, to shine your light down into the valley. So this would be a very solid, positive confirmation that that is, in fact, a very good direction to go. And interestingly enough, I have a very good friend who is over in Iowa, and she went back to school at the age of 46, got her teaching degree, and now she's teaching a very special part of you know, higher education, working with high school kids, and she really feels like that was the, you know, the ultimate reward, the ultimate payback and fulfillment. So I think it would be very good.
Wonderful. Very exciting times for all of us. The cards are amazing today. So we have another person here. It's Kay Bergeau, and she is a Libra with a Sagittarius rising and would love a general card.
Well, that Sagittarius energy is, you know, as Mercury is moving into Gemini, what's it doing? It's opposing Sagittarius, so it's going to be, you know, putting some energy in that direction. So number one, I would say Kay is going to get a little stimulant here. It's like amping up a little bit as we move into this coming weekend and the rest of the month. The card for her is reviewing your value systems, reviewing exactly what it is that has meaning and value for you, and taking account of the elements within yourself that have value that you're perhaps overlooking right now. I do get a sense of career changes coming up around you, but it's going to be a while. But I get a sense that right now it's a thing of really being able to see your worth, and that's going to give you some new visions and some new horizons to be moving toward.
Excellent. So last person in the chat room is our own Danae Banton. She would also like a card pulled today.
Yes, and for Danae we have, oh nice, healing, regeneration, 2 of Cups, bringing the 2 elements, masculine, feminine, together within, and we've got the Caduceus in the background, which implies physical healing as well as spiritual healing. Of course, you have to have one in order to have the other. So a big cycle of regeneration and healing and moving to that next level of what it is that you're trying to do with your life, and moving onto a new quest is what I got. The words came through, the quest. So
wonderful.
That should be interesting.
So very dynamic. Everything's very dynamic at the moment. So that's awesome. And I think she's also Sagittarius when I'm reading right. So that's very interesting as well. So I don't know if Lynn did unmute herself. Lynn, can you talk already? Is it working? No.
I don't think so. It's not. Is it working?
It is working. I can hear you.
It is?
So
wow. I'm having such technical problems this morning.
No, it's
well, it's afternoon now.
So please ask your question to Master Onefeather.
Well, I have 2 questions. I don't know if I should ask a question that I need an answer to for Monday, or one that I need for the rest of my life.
Well, perhaps they're interrelated. So there's certainly no problem with going on a 2-step process here.
I'm trying to work on release, and I'm trying to find out specifically what I should release. And I'm fine at forgiveness, but I'm having a hard time with my my sister and trust. And I don't know if I'm supposed to release something that has to do with my sister.
Well, it shows that this is the 4 of Swords, the card of meditation. But in this sense, I get more of a sense of repose. And did you have a parent die recently, or do you still have a very strong charge around the death of a parent?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did my, yeah.
Yeah, and see, that's really the wedge here, is that somehow you're not holding your frustration and attachment in about yourself. You're kind of disassociating from it and saying, my sister was, the problem. My sister was evil. My sister was the bad person here. So it's kind of a convoluted set of conditions here, but really the big thing is to recognize that what you're trying to release is hidden inside of like a package with really thick paper around it. You got to tear off the paper and look more deeply into that area of how how you are associating your sister with circumstances in your life. Does that make sense?
No, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, you'll have to meditate about that.
I have been trying. I even went as far as to think it must have been something in my past life, because she did things that would make anybody not trust her recently in the past 8 months. So I really don't connect it with my dad at all, unless she doesn't trust me, because I found a way to still love my dad and understand him, where the rest of my family hasn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know, one of the things that we do is that we, because you know we're dealing with emotionally charged situations, it creates blind spots where we're not really remembering all of the dynamic that your father and your sister had, things like that. But there are these unconscious elements that are at play. One of the ways I would suggest on getting, you know, the full picture so you can really disconnect from this would be to ask for your dream, you know, in your dream cycle. Ask yourself or tell yourself, I am going to dream some answers, and then keep a dream log. And even if the dreams aren't about the specific subject, you'll find that there will be a theme that comes up in your dreams, and these different elements within this theme will ultimately reveal to you what it is that you're struggling with, that you're trying very hard to release.
Okay, I've tried that before. Now I have to ask for help to dream and to remember the dreams. The couple of dreams that I did have, crazy dreams, and nothing to do with anything. So you're right about that. You know, and they're easy enough for me to remember because there's only 2 of them.
Well, you can definitely stimulate your own dream life. You can give yourself a positive affirmation before you go to sleep at night. I am going to relax and sleep deeply and have beautiful dreams that give me the answers to my problems. Just repeat something like that over and over again as you're falling asleep, and you will discover that when you wake up, you will have something that you will have dreamt that will give you some kind of a sense of direction or purpose.
That sounds like a plan. Last night I went to sleep with Chris and Iwona in my ear, watching them on YouTube, wondering whatever happened to that pillow talk. I loved it. I was watching the first episode, and I went to sleep laughing, but I didn't work on any dreams.
That's also good. Laughing is the best medicine. Thank you so much, Master Onefeather. Today it's a good day for us. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. There are a lot of people. There's somebody else even popped up now. So I just want to mention that you can reserve a seat for a mini reading in Master Onefeather's show in our studio audience if you want. You just go down to soulmart.me, and there you will find everything to reserve a seat. So, Master Onefeather, before we come to our special guest in red today, we have one more person. It's Therese Thompson. She's a Libra, and she wants a general card, please.
And for Therese, Queen of Cups. So, moving into a period here where you're going to be really sensitive. I would say a real spike with intuition. Definitely emotionally sensitive to your environment. So be alert to the fact that there's a potential here for your responding to other people's thoughts and not recognizing that this particular thought is coming from somebody else. So it's almost like you're on overload as far as the sensitivity level. And this is probably going to carry through the entire month here. So definitely a need to be present and to examine your emotions before you react to them, and ask yourself, am I really feeling this, or is that, person sitting across the room putting out this vibe and I'm just tuning into it? But very interesting period for you coming up.
Thank you very much, Master Onefeather. And I don't know if people know, but Christopher is here. And he has it's his birthday on the 9th. So maybe we should pull a card for him as well, Master Onefeather.
Well, I'll pull 3 cards for Christopher.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow, yay.
Yeah. First card up, Ace of Swords. This is a pivotal point. Wow. This is an important birthday. And use this sword to cut your attachments to the past. And don't be selective about it. Really see this last 10 years or 20 years or whatever as being like a corpse. So if you go back and try to romance the corpse, that's what we call necrophilia, and it's really not very pleasant.
Or my first marriage, wonk wonk.
There you go. The next card up, the coming year, we have the Devil card. Lots of work. You are a workaholic by nature, but I think you're going to start seeing results because we see this guy looking at the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think you're going to start moving in that direction of seeing all of these visions that you've had come together and gel into one bigger outcome. And the final card couldn't ask for better. The Ten of Cups.
Wow, that is amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
After the Devil, I have to say that's a nice wrap-up.
Yeah, well, it's a nice card of fulfillment, satiation, finally getting all your needs met, and it's a card for healing and regeneration, not only for you but for the family. So, a very good year ahead.
Well, thank you. Can I ask a question? So how do you interpret the Devil card? You said a lot of work, light at the end of the tunnel. That's actually very positive. Well, what does that card represent in the sense of what am I telling myself in that Devil period? Am I shaking off the Devil? Is the Devil me?
Well, I think that, in life we all have obligations. In order to pay the rent, you have to do the work, and that's the Devil part of it. You have to roll up your sleeves and actually do the work. The Devil is the taskmaster. Now, we have put a negative connotation on the Devil because it also can veer off in the direction of temptation and ultimately satiating your lusts and needs, and or your lusty needs. So, overindulgence, and getting lost in the experience rather than experiencing the experience and moving on.
Interesting.
Oh, wow, that's Hollywood.
Yes.
Thank you, Master Onefeather. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your. Thank you for the 3 birthday cards, and thank you for having me. And I'll share with the world whatever happens. I'll let you guys know. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Master Onefeather, there is a person that we oversaw, and it's a person from Vienna, and he's the first time on a tarot show watching it in our chat room, and he also wants a card. Could you pull one more for Marcus? He's an Aries.
Yeah, Marcus is getting ready to lift off in a big way. We have the Star card. Moving into a period of pure potentiality. Things are really going to move upward in a spectacular way. I get a strong potential for a major change going on in his life in general. And I think that he's going to be launching into a new level of growth, career growth, and relationship growth. So he's moving into one of the better years of his life right now.
Awesome. He will totally appreciate this message, I'm sure.
Good.
So thank you so much, Master Onefeather. And as we are as we have to wrap up, of course, maybe we need just one more card for today and for the coming days. Maybe you would like to pull one for the overall energies before we go.
Yes, and as we're moving forward, advancing, well, we're not going to be advancing as much as we thought we were.
Oh!
We have the Hanged Man, and this is a card of just, tolerance and patience right now. I think that this weekend is going to be kind of a surge forward, but I think this week, don't let yourself get ahead of yourself. Be patient with the journey, because Mercury moving into Gemini is going to give us all that need to, force things to happen, to move forward, to accelerate things. And the cards are saying just take it easy and move forward with this new energy, and you'll get clarity, you'll get answers, you'll get insights, understanding, and probably get some healing in the process too.
And maybe meditate. Thank you so much, Master Onefeather. So that's all the time we have this week, and be sure to visit Master Onefeather on the web so you can book a reading, purchase his book, or watch prior episodes at tweettalk.tv, or you can even reserve a seat for a mini reading in our studio audience. So we thank you for joining us on Circle of Wisdom this week. We are saying happy birthday to Christopher again. Have a great day and celebrate and enjoy. And then go off inside the devil card, and I'm sure you will emerge perfectly. And we will see you here next Wednesday at 12 p.m. United States Eastern Time. So, Master Onefeather, thank you so much. Do you have a parting wish for us today?
Yes, absolutely. It's spring, so get out in nature. It is that time of year when we need to get out and breathe deeply and regenerate and embrace this period of growth and regeneration.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Master Onefeather, and live, love, be.